Hello. This update has been out for about 4 or 5 days now, and I kind of just wanted to make a video talking about everything, my thoughts on it, and other things. So if you like this kind of content, or you want to see more AOTR content, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment what else you want to see, as well as what your favorite part and your least favorite part about this update is. But anyway, I'm going to be getting into the first thing, and the thing that made me the happiest about this new update is the change to the female raid, where Aaron now has crit spots, just like most Titans do in every raid. So now it's easier to cripple him and just fight him in this phase. Before it used to be so much harder, but this does actually bring me to my first con, which is actually a huge problem that I have, is that they removed the refill station that used to be behind the spawn point, like on the wall. And with the first part that I mentioned, a lot of people might be thinking that it's going to make Warbringer easier or better, and this is actually not true. They made Warbringer so much harder just because of the refill station situation, as well as they made it a requirement to have glass cannon on. I was honestly waiting for update 4 to do Warbringer, and now I don't know if I'm ever going to do it because that sounds miserable. And my next favorite feature about this new update is the new enhancing feature. Right now, I don't have a lot of perks, but basically the way it works now is that when you press auto add, instead of adding just 5 perks, it'll fill up as much as you have in order to level it up to max. So that way you don't have to keep adding 5, enhancing, adding 5, enhancing, adding 5, enhancing, etc, etc. You can now just auto add basically every single rare or epic or common perk that you have until it's max level. Which brings me to my next point, and something that I don't like is the perk limit nerf. It got brought from 3,500 down to 2,000. That was very brutal, and it kind of ruins this new feature a little bit. But I'm not a big fan of that because I'm somebody who likes to hoard their perks until it's full. And before I get into the main topic of update 4, I kind of wanted to talk about the smaller changes in regards to the other raids. For example, they made the armor raid harder. So before, how it used to work is there was the first phase, the boat phase, and you would do damage to the main boss and bring the crystal armored health down, and basically, the more damage you did to the armored crystal health during the first phase would make the boss vulnerable to more damage during the second phase. But now it doesn't matter because whatever health is left from the first phase remains in the second phase. So if you only get that down to 75% on the armored health bar during the second phase, it'll have 75% of the armored bar, and then you start attacking the base health. However, they did make the boat speed faster, but now the boss does do more damage to the boats, so it's a lot harder to solo this raid than it was before, as if it wasn't tricky enough. And now to talk about the Colossal raid for a little bit. If I'm honest, I don't like this raid at all. I have not played this raid even a little bit outside of streaming. I tried it maybe once or twice with my sister, and that's it. My main problem with it is, one, I like to solo grind, and the only way to solo grind this raid is having the Colossal serum already, so I've heard. I will say I do like the idea of the Colossal raid. I am somebody who said that each serum should have their own role, and that's what they did with this raid. The armored serum has never been this helpful before. Being able to just deal that much damage to all those titans like it's nothing is perfect. That's exactly what I was wanting. Just don't think it's a really interesting raid. Maybe it's because I haven't had the best experience with it, but so far I'm not totally sold on it. My main issue with it is just the first part. Everything else after that is fine, but I just don't like the cannons. I feel like the cannons feel very clunky. They just don't shoot where I'm aiming, it feels like half the time. Skill issue? Maybe. I don't know. Feel free to let me know. But anyway, for now, I'm going to say it's very iffy on the Colossal raid. I think every other raid is fine now. My main problem with the female raid now is, again, the refill station got removed in Stohess. So now every time you need to refill, you need to thread the needle getting into the spawn area, and then you need to thread the needle even further getting into the refill station. I wish they would change the layout so it's easier to get into instantly, rather than having to navigate a weird, awkward obstacle where you have to like walk like 40 meters just to get to the refill station. It would just be a nice quality of life change if they reworked the spawn a little bit. Next, I am so happy with this regiment revamp system, being able to kick people and even being able to upgrade the perks based on the leveling system is such a good feature. I love this. This might be like my second favorite part about this update. I love the new regiment system. And speaking of buffs, the new map reward buff system where it's all 3 buffs on one map is perfect as well. Seeing it bounce between XP boosts was so lame as a high max level prestige player. This was so good and something I've been waiting for such a long time. And another thing is the Game Pass trades. Perfect. Makes it easier not needing middleman services. And speaking of trading, they have made a few changes to it. So firstly, you can now stack keys and scrolls to 100. I'm not sure if you can with scrolls. I know you can with keys now. Maybe scrolls is just like 50, but I'm sure scrolls is also 100. And now I believe there are trading private servers. So if you have the private server Game Pass, now you can load up a trade lobby for people that are just in that private server. This makes trading on stream easier, so I may be down to do that more in the future. Stay tuned. And another thing that they changed is the serum odds. They made it so they're easier to obtain. However, they have nerfed it pretty heavily. They mainly nerfed the shifting gain bar. So now it takes a lot longer to get your shifting bar up, and as well as some damage nerfs. But overall, I think Titan shifting is still really good. I still need to play around with some builds to truly see how they've messed with it. But so far, the worst part is it takes a lot longer to shift. However, the easier chance to get serums does mess with a few things. Firstly, serums now sell for less than half the original price. You used to get 12.5k gems per serum, and now it's down to 6,000. That was pretty brutal, so people are going to have to find a new way to grind gems. I've always said that any guard is the best, mainly with like Fritz or even Gem Fiend. That might be the best now. I don't know. Feel free to let me know what your gem grinding method is. Maybe it's still that. It's just not as good as it was before. And something else I am very disappointed in is there's no battle pass. We waited all this time, saved up this many gems just for there not to be a battle pass on release. That definitely sucks. I think the new crystal map is cool. It's basically giant forest but pretty, and I like how it's split into 2 sections. It kind of makes it a little tricky because it's hard to tell who's on what side, but I think it's a cute map. They did a good job with it. And something else I'm not the biggest fan of is how the glowing titans, whenever they scream, they now have iframes. This is mostly annoying as a shifter, just because while it's screaming, there's not a whole lot you can do. I don't even think you can use any moves to kick them out of it. There's been a few times where I screamed and they get stunned, but that might have been like right before they were able to enter their iframes. So overall, that part's a little annoying, just having to sit there and do nothing while I wait for their animation to be over. As well as, I don't really know how to feel in regards of how they put the Crystal Titans into every aberrant mission. I think it's a cute idea, but I think it might screw ODM players over pretty hard. I'm somebody who uses Thunder Spears and Titan shifting, so it doesn't affect me that much, but even then, they still can be a nuisance. And another thing I'm really happy with is how much more beginner friendly this game is. There's now tutorials and guides for everything, including base mechanics in the game. So anytime you go to look at a feature, there's going to be like a little question mark you can look at that gives you more information and teaches you how to do it rather than having to ask around and be confused on everything. I think that's really cool, and I hope they do more things like this in the future as well. And now let's talk about waves. I've done a few run of waves so far, 1 with my chat and 2 solo, and honestly, it's pretty fun. It can be a little underwhelming, but I do think that the progression system is very realistic and it flows very smoothly, and just some nice quality of life features in it, like when you upgrade your ODM, those upgrades actually transfer over to your Thunder Spear upgrades, as well as gold boost potions also working in waves as well. But there are a lot of things wrong with it. For one, a smaller thing is whenever I need to upgrade something, the dialogue option that pops up first is very annoying. I know you can quickly press E again to get out of it, but I think after maybe wave 10, those shouldn't just pop up at all. I get it at that point. I don't need to read it again. I don't need to see it. Make them go away after a certain time. And another thing is, it just doesn't feel efficient to grind at all. In order to get a sustainable amount of gems for the waves market, you need to be hitting about wave 50, and I got to wave 30, and that took me 80 minutes to do. Maybe it's because I was a little slow, maybe it's because I took my time upgrading, I don't really know, but it seems to take people about an hour just to get to wave 30, and after that, I only ended up getting 180 gems from it. So I would maybe make those easier to get. It might depend on how many people, but it seems it mostly depends on how far you make it into the waves. As well as it doesn't give a lot of gold or XP either. So that was one of the things I was wondering, is if waves is good to grind when you're starting out. And so far, seems like not, because it's actually really brutal if you don't have something like Helos or Ackerman. And it's really bad if you have a shifting build, unless if there are others that will help carry you. But doing it solo with a bad build can be rough, just because the only things that apply from your family are the passives. You do get skills from the families, from the crates, but they are rare. And I was lucky enough to get Kingslayer, but it's difficult to get those and not reliable at all. So you kind of need a good build going into waves, just like anything else. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this video, and that's where I want to hear all of your opinions on Update 4. Feel free to leave in the comments what your least favorite and your favorite parts about this update is. I'd love to make a part 2 based on community feedback. Feel free to let me know what you thought of this video as well. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, check out my Twitch, join the Discord, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.